Alright, guys. Today I wanted to talk about the power of hugs and trees. So, what the hell do I mean? I want to talk about this time I went to a national trust and there was this massive tree there. And I think I'd heard something on a podcast previously, like in the days following up to it, about trees having like energy. And I just thought that like I'd go to this place and I put my hand on a tree and see what happens. So I walked up to the big tree and I put my hand on the tree. And I started feeling this like feeling in my chest. Oh, I hit the microphone. I started feeling this feeling like right here. It was like almost like a comforting, almost like a weight, but like a nice feeling of heaviness inside. Yeah, and I just held the tree and I thought, I can feel something. And I don't know if I was just like letting my mind be like receptive to this idea of trees having energy. But I did feel something. And then this morning, I gave Joe a hug and then like a longer hug. And I felt the same feeling. And it's like this nice feeling just here. And it is like a warm blanket, I guess, around your chest. And I think that there's some power in that. I haven't explored the feeling of touching a tree since, but I think I should. Actually, I tell a lie. I did go on a walk to the local woods here, and I put my hand on a tree. Yeah, and I did get the same feeling. So I think just like giving yourself time to go out in nature is very important, I think. And I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. It's not a feeling I allow myself to feel too often. I usually am quite like a typical person that would isolate themselves. So that when I get home, I like to shut the door and sort of seal myself off in my own like world. And I think that plays from when I was younger in my family home. Yeah, the family wasn't doing so well. So my parents were sort of split. They weren't divorced, but they weren't like talking to each other. So they would isolate themselves in their own rooms. So yeah, my dad would be downstairs working on eBay. My mum would be in her bedroom with the door closed, I believe. And then I would be in my room, either playing a game or doing whatever, hanging out with friends, sealed off in my own little world. We never like sort of connected much. And I think as I've got older, that's really stuck with me, and I feel like that's where I feel comfortable, is isolating myself. But at the same time, there's sort of a detriment in that where I'm like isolating myself from connecting with those around me. And especially like if I've had a bad sleep or if I'm not in the best headspace, I will fall back on like I need to isolate myself. I need to shut myself off in a room and not talk to anyone, and then I'll be a bit like grumpy and I find it hard to talk to people. I find it hard to say how I feel. So yeah, I think that's definitely lasted with me, and when I'm not feeling comfortable, I fall back on that feeling of where I feel safe, I guess. And sometimes, but if there's other people in the house, I do feel like I've got to shut myself off. So say there's like a family gathering here, sometimes I just shut myself off from it and don't even come out at all. Sometimes I just like I can't deal with it. I mean, in the past it's brought me like a lot of anxiety knowing like all these people are out there. I can't talk to them. I've got to shut myself off in here. And then I'd be talking to people on Discord, but yeah, so I'd be sort of socialising in a way, but not with the people that are actually in the house. And I think that's something I've been trying to stop myself from doing over the past few years, because I've realised it's just me that's like that. But yeah, that was very much the norm when I was growing up. But when I went to hospital, I did see the value in a connection, because when I was in that sort of state and people were helping me out and coming to visit me, and you know, people were just like messaging me from like the past I hadn't spoken to in years, and then even visiting me in hospital. I hadn't seen them in like since I was in school, and then I was just like overwhelmed with this sense that I needed to connect with people. And I was talking to people in the hospital, I was talking to the healthcare assistants, the nurses. I was really valuing that connection. And then since I've come back out of hospital, I have sort of like fallen back into my old ways of like isolating myself. And yeah, something I need to continue to work on. I think I'm a little bit better than I used to be, but I need to practice that, to practice not isolating myself. And I think part of, having hugs and touching trees is actually opening yourself up to connection. Because in that moment when I'm touching a tree and I'm feeling something, I'm connecting with nature, I feel, and it's providing me with a sense of like calmness, and it's quite rewarding in a way, in the same way a hug feels the same. And in a hug you're both feeling that. It's like there's like this positivity being spread to both of you. I'm not saying just go up to someone in the street and hug them, but try and maybe hug someone at your home, or someone you know very deeply, or or just go out and touch a tree. I just thought I'd talk about that a bit. Sort of led me onto a tangent about my childhood, but it's just something that's been on my mind, and I felt like I had to talk about it this morning before I carried on with anything else. And I don't really need to say much more on it, really. Those are just my thoughts, this morning's thoughts, and that's it. So, yeah, I do thank you if you have watched this video. I do tend to ramble because these are just unplanned. So the cat's just playing with a toy underneath the camera. Yeah, I do value, for those of you who are watching, I value you, because it does make it feel like there's more worth to me doing this. Oh, she is enjoying that toy. Anyway, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. I don't know what the cat is doing.